Can you hear it? It's them. They will find you. You can't hide. You can't escape.
Okay. Okay, now we should be alive and you should be able to hear me. Hopefully this is working the way that it should be working. I'm not 100%. I've had so many audio issues with the last couple of streams that I've switched configurations once again. Now I'm running a shotgun microphone that is just outside of frame instead of the wireless lavalier system. I've discovered that for some reason my capture card, the audio coming from my camera, audio coming from my camera sounds horrendous despite using good audio equipment, and it drops a lot, and it's kind of a mess. Can hear but can't see? Oh gosh, what now? No. I mean, the stream looks perfectly fine to me. I'm sorry, I don't really know where or what is going on there. Let me jump over and double check it. Jumping to Twitch to check, make sure. Are you shitting me? It's black? What the hell is going on here? It's perfectly fine on Restream. And it's perfectly fine on YouTube. It's just Twitch that's acting up. No, it's not you, it's Twitch. I might have to drop Twitch. If you're just assembling, this will be a seriously short stream. I know. I'm aware, but this is probably pre-assembled, ready to go. I get that. Yes, you're right. I'm going to have to duck out of Twitch. I'm sorry, folks. Twitch is just not working. I don't know why, but it's not picking it up. I'm using Restream. Maybe it's because I'm Twitch. I'm really not supposed to Restream, so I'm going to say goodbye on Twitch. I'm sorry, folks. I'm just going to stream on YouTube. YouTube.com/MandicReally if you want to see the stream. I'm sorry about that. Okay, now we're exclusively on YouTube, and that is that. Moving on from here. All right. Okay, now I think we're good. We're good. Yeah, what a freaking pain in my butt. Welcome, folks on TikTok. Welcome, folks on YouTube. We've got the Fokoos Tech Odin 5 F3. It's such a freaking mouthful. 3D printer here. The packaging on this 3D printer is the nicest box I've ever gotten a printer in, that's for sure. I hope that reflects in the quality of the printer itself and not just the box, but you know, we shall see real shortly here. So, yeah, we might as well get into this. I'm gonna change cameras real quick. If at any point there's audio issues on YouTube, let me know. As I said, I've been having such problems. I've changed up to a microphone that's just outside of frame here now. Sorry, there was a little dirt on the microphone. And yeah, let me know if you have any issues hearing, understanding, whatever. Is my music not playing now? That's stupid. I'm gonna add in the audio music real quick. It's gonna be loud for a second, sorry. All right, now we should be good. All right, folks, now we are gonna unbox, work with this thing, and figure out what is going on with the Fokoos Tech 3D printer. As I said, the unboxing of this, like was already noted, this thing is probably going to be real quick to unbox because I believe it's assembled inside of here. They call it a folding 3D printer, which basically means it comes pre-assembled. You fold it up, you put like 2 bolts in it, and it's good to go. Let's get inside this box. Seriously, the nicest packaging I've ever gotten a printer in. I'll lock the wheels on my desk. Keep forgetting to do that. All right. Yeah. We are actually going to use this thing. We're going to work on assembly, or not just assembly, like we will be doing more here than just unboxing. I'm going to put this down on the floor because I got to pull it out of here. There it is. All right, I'm going to leave this off to the side real quick. Hopefully it doesn't fall over. And we're going to take a look at... Awesome, can see and hear you here. Awesome. Coming over. Was this expensive? It is not a budget 3D printer by any means. So let's jump over and take a look real quick at the browser. I've already got pulled up. There's a handful of features about this thing that I want to highlight. I want to take a look at. This is not sponsored by the Fokoos Tech did send me this, but this is not sponsored in any way. They provided this to me so I could check it out, make a video, review it, blah, blah, blah. So, all right, let's jump to the browser real quick. Okay, now you should be able to hear me. I'm sorry about that. God damn it. I keep doing that. Over on the stream, sorry. You couldn't hear me because I was didn't put the input in. I've changed from Streamlabs to OBS, back to OBS, which I used to use all the time because of all the Streamlabs controversy this week. I said, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going back to regular OBS. I had to reset up everything this morning, and it's been a mess. Sorry. Okay, let's recap real quick. We've got a filament detector built into the direct drive system. We have this direct drive with the motor built right in, the NEMA 17, it looks like. And it almost looks like the hot end. It looks like kind of a volcano. The heater block is a long heater block section. I'm interested and intrigued by that. If this is basically a volcano, I don't know that I've seen many printers shipping with like a volcano type hot end system. The only thing I don't like then is that it has a 4010 blower fan on it for part cooling. It's a little small. Yeah, it's interesting. We'll see. We'll get into this. And the other thing I was saying is dual Z-axis lead screws, and I'm pretty sure we will look in here. Oh, actually, I'm certain it is a MakerBase based mainboard, so a Robin Nano type board with the color touchscreen, just like the Neptune 2 and the King Rune KP3S. So, okay, let's get back to this. The only thing I don't like about this, looking at their website, like, there's no support section, so I couldn't download the slicer ahead of this stream. There's just various things that are a little weird here. I don't know anything about the voltage this thing is running yet or any of that. And so let's jump right back to this and unbox the rest of the stuff and get into it. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I forgot to add the microphone audio source. I really, at this point, I've been doing enough of these streams. It's probably about time that I build a dedicated streaming PC. I'm using my laptop and an external capture card. I think it's time to invest in like a full capture setup for the studio. We'll cross that bridge later. PEI after bed issues, PEI sheet fixed up my problems. Awesome. So we got some filament here with this thing, a little bit of it. Let's take a look at the accessories that come in the box as well. All right. What's accessories? We've got a little manual in here. We've got end caps for extrusions, power cable, tools. It also has a little wrench. I mean, not just, it has like a nut wrench, an actual 6-pointed wrench. Interesting. Some, oh, that's a ribbon cable, the ribbon cable for the hot end, the extruder system. It doesn't use regular wires. It has a ribbon cable on there. The flush cuts that I have a dozen of at this point. The spool holder just clips together, it looks like. Interesting. That looks like that could easily come undone. All right, we will cross that bridge a little later when we put it on. The micro USB or micro SD card, a wow. Yeah, I really should consider building a streaming PC. Acupuncture needle for cleaning the tips out. The hardware I assume I'm going to need for assembly, which there is not a whole heck a lot of. Has a USB cable for communicating with the printer, awesome. And a little flat scraper for removing prints off the glass bed, which is the #1 thing I don't like about this thing already. I've mentioned many, many times, I am not a fan of glass beds, so... Alright, let's get this thing out of this packaging. Alright, nicely foam packed inside of there. Oh yeah, it is in fact going to be a Volcano type hot end because we've got E3D V6 clone nozzles for a Volcano. So we got the longer nozzles. So my standard V6 nozzles won't work with this, that means, but also that means that is a Volcano quote unquote type hot end. So interesting. If you haven't already figured out, a lot of the time I purposely go into these things not knowing a lot about the machines that I'm working with, because I want to learn at the same time you folks are. I mean, I'm sure a bunch of you probably have come into here already knowing something about this machine, so here we are. Oh yeah, let's remove this piece of foam here. And they call it a folding 3D printer, and that's because it folds. But there's nothing to keep it from going back. Okay. So I'm not even going to look at the instructions. It's pretty clear what I need to do here. And I've got M5 screws, M4 screws. There's 3 M4s. I'm assuming those are probably for the spool holder. I really do not like glass beds, personally. I really don't like them. Primary reason I don't like them is bed adhesion issues. I find I have more adhesion issues with a glass bed than I do with any other bed surface, short of maybe Kapton tape. And part removal from glass is a pain because you can't flex it. I like PEI sheets. I love PEI sheets. They're my preferred thing. And if I like this printer and if I'm really going to keep using this printer, I'll almost certainly put a PEI sheet on it. So yeah, I'm going to take a quick peek at the instructions, make sure that I'm not missing anything. Let's do this right. Directions before use. Yep. Stand it up, put the screws in. Nope, I'm not missing anything. All right, there are 2 screws on each side that go in through the side. It's a metal extrusion that they're going in through. I'm going to change camera angles in a second here. I just want to... Looking forward to the Prusa XL unboxing. Yeah, me too. I hope that comes in, I don't know, sometime before I'm dead. I pre-ordered the Prusa XL, and I'm not holding my breath for how soon that'll come in. It looks like this ribbon cable is an extra one. It's a spare one. I love to see that because I get why companies want to use these ribbon cables. It's a sleeker design. It's going to create, it's a sleeker cable management design than having cables running everywhere, but these are so delicate. So, all right, I'm going to change angles and show you this pivoting mechanism real quick here. Okay, now we're taking a look here. There's 2 screws to either side of this extrusion that stands up here. Let me try and help you folks on TikTok as well. There's 2 screw holes over here. I just need to put them into there. All right, one lined up. The other one is hidden under the Z motor, so it's a little harder to get to. All right, that's in. Now I want to leave these just a hair loose because I want to see how much wiggle this has. Because that's one of my concerns with this folding design. One of my concerns here is that you could, this can be lined up wrong. Oh my gosh, yeah, there's a lot of wiggle in this thing. So trying to square this up to the position it's supposed to be in, I don't love that. I might end up grabbing a square out of the toolbox and try and double check this real quick. It's a neat idea, but when they told me, oh yeah, it's a folding 3D printer, I kind of wanted to ask, but I didn't want to be, I wanted to play with it for a little bit. Yeah, granted, these are not tight. I haven't tightened anything down, obviously. Let me zoom the camera out. So, with that wiggle, I'm not worried about it being a problem while printing. Once this is tightened down, you're not going to have this wiggle. That's fine. But getting it square, if I just did this, it's totally different than if I do this in relation to the bed and to the lower extrusion frame, or the lower frame. Now, what I do like that I'm seeing about this thing already is we've got a 40-20 extrusion for the x-axis, and we've got 2 20-20 extrusions spaced really far apart for the y-axis, which should provide a really stable construction on the hot end and the bed. Yeah, they should really have like a detent locking mechanism to put it where it's supposed to be. I'm assuming that they want a little wiggle there so that you can adjust if necessary. I don't know. Have you seen the belt kit for the Ender 3 yet? I'm not sure what you're talking about belt kit wise. There are a bunch of belt setups for the Ender 3. I got a 1, 2, 3 block. I'm gonna see if I can try and square this up off the frame, off the bed. All right. Yeah, all the way back is not. Yeah, they should really have a stopper of some kind, something to like stop it at square or much closer to it anyway, because it was definitely not all the way back or all the way forward. I just used the square block to get it close. I will mess with that more later. But anytime you want to fold this thing, like I'm going to North Carolina next week to work on my dad's truck, and I told them I would take this with me because, well, that's the use case, you know? Take it, you're going to travel? Well, take a printer with you, fold it down. Which is cool, it's a neat idea, so I'm going to do it. But I don't know, it's a little strange. Alright. Tighten these down. I mean, let's face it, like, a bunch of machines only have like 2 screws holding them in position, so I'm not saying that's really a bad thing, but yeah, we'll cross that bridge in a moment. And that's assembly, so we are set up. Yes, more C10 content coming soon. We're going down for Thanksgiving, but I am going to be working on the truck as well. So alright. Cool. Alright, now I've got to get these pieces of foam out of here on the Z screws. Those are out. I got to get under the bed. I'm going to remove the peel on the bed. We got to get off of here. And then we're going to dive right into a print, I guess. And the only other thing to do is put a spool holder on it. I'll do that in a moment. So there's our glass bed. Peel that off. It tore. That was an unsatisfying peel. That was a really unsatisfying peel. Oh well. Oh. There's a peel on the bed too. Unlike the Neptune 2, I'm not going to miss that. That was a more satisfying peel. Much more satisfying peel. Alright, let's put this down on here. I'm going to clip at each corner. For the glass to the bed. Oh, even a little level gauge. A level gauge might make sense. This is one, you know, usually people selling level gauges for 3D printers are just trying to trick people, but this is one case I could see where that would make sense. You're not wrong. Okay, now I gotta snip. I gotta snip a zip tie up here. I don't know where I put the snips that came with this already. Ah, there they are. Got them. Snip this. And now I gotta plug in this ribbon cable. I'm gonna give you folks a clear view on YouTube. Seems like there should be a latch or something, and there's just not. it just slips in. I mean, it feels really good and secure. I can't just like pull it out of there. So that's something. Okay. It looks like it is a 40mm fan. Let's measure real quick. I don't have, my calipers are up on my desk because I've been designing stuff all week. Here's a 50mm fan. That might be a 30mm. Reconnection successful. And are we back? Are we back? I don't know why, but we lost the stream there for a second. Okay, we're back. I don't know what's going on there. My internet connection should be fine. Alright, now let's dig into this a little deeper. Why does this look so bad? Oh, it's my stream. Never mind. Sorry about that, folks. I don't know what just happened. OBS dropped out for no apparent reason. So, you know what? I'm going to drop my stream down to 360p because I don't need to be clogging up my bandwidth with my watching my own stream. So, why does this look so bad? Peel off the label, the cover on the screen. And I'm sure it's a Robin Nano board inside of here, but I want to pop the cover off and take a look because it's me, and that's what I do. So, let's get inside of here and take a quick look. What's it used for? Oh, the feet are held on by the screws too. Okay. We're going to take a look at the board, and then we're going to fire this thing up and actually print with it. Get this off of here. Yeah, I'm live on YouTube as well. If anybody wants to get a better look at what's going on, a better view, we've got YouTube. So now you don't have to be on TikTok. Woo! Welcome over here. What YouTube channel are you streaming on? I'm on the Mandic Really channel. MANDIC-REALLY. That is my YouTube, my 3D printing YouTube channel. Should be the one that's linked on my, that's smaller. It should be the one that's linked on my TikTok profile as well. Let's get this bottom cover off, take a look at the power supply, the main board that this thing is running. Do you have an Ender 5 Plus? Yes, I do. The Ender 5 Plus is right over here at the edge of the screen right now. I do have one. I do not generally recommend the Ender 5 Plus to anybody, honestly. There's just, it's kind of a weird, like, they need to update it, I think. It really needs some updates to be a better machine. Would you recommend the Creality Ender 3 V2 for somebody getting into 3D printing? Yes, that is my go-to recommendation. Not necessarily the V2. The Pro is generally good enough, I think, but the V2 is solid machine as well. And, yeah. So the Creality Ender 3s are my go-to recommendations for a starter 3D printer. This might become my recommendation for a step up from that. I don't know. You've already got direct drive. All right, let's go look inside of here. I'm gonna move camera so YouTube can get a better view here real quick. All right, so yeah, this is definitely an easier setup. The only thing, I wish there was something about level or squaring up the body or the rails and all that, as I mentioned. But other than that, it is a little more plug and play friendly. I'll give you that. All right, taking a look inside of here. We have a 240 watt fanless power supply, 24 volt. Got a little 24 volt fan blowing across the main board. I like that. Oh, and there is a 24 volt, there's an exhaust fan back here as well. Exhausting through this entire case to cool the power supply. I also like that. I don't like that, I'm sure they're probably not going to be quiet fans. We'll find out in a minute. It does have pluggable stepper drivers like the King Rune KP3S. Let me pop one of them out of here real quick. Maybe they aren't. They look like they're socketed. Oh man, wow. Actually, step up. It's a 24-volt system, you are correct, but this is not a Robin Nano clan, ooh. This is not a clone board. This is an actual Robin Nano board. So they actually used a proper Robin Nano maker-based board in here. That is awesome to see. It's not a clone board, it's not a knockoff. It's a proper clone, a proper Robin Nano board. Awesome on their part, because that means, I like that personally, because that means that upgradability. I can flash firmware to this better than I could on the Neptune 2. I've had so much trouble with the Neptune 2. Actually, I haven't talked about it on anywhere yet, but I am actually going to be putting a real maker-based Robin Nano board into the Neptune 2. It's a whole project they're going to be doing, upgrading that thing, putting a real Robin Nano board into it so I can get proper bed leveling, just so many things that I want to unlock, be able to update the firmware to a newer Marlin firmware, all of that. This does run Marlin on it. It's a maker-based board. And yeah, it's all really straightforward. It looks like I could pretty easily add a BL Touch to this if I wanted to, being as it's an actual Robin Nano board. It's got the port on it, and that's pretty much it. The wiring is a little messy inside of here for my liking, but it also has ferrules. It's actually got proper ferrules on the crimped onto the ends of the wires. That's a lovely thing to see. It's not soldered tinned ends. I have a Neptune 2. Am I following your steps? Cool. I'll be posting about that soon. It has proper crimped ends on here. That's great to see. They did a good job on that. Cable management could be a little nicer, but overall, it looks solid. I'm kind of impressed. Yeah, everything looks really good. This is also a maker-based screen, so I won't even have to replace the screen if I want to flash the firmware. So that is a thing I'll have to do on the Neptune 2, unfortunately. All right, let's put this cover back on and get this thing fired up and printing. All right. So I see personally, likely fan upgrades on this thing will be, we'll see how it sounds once apparently this goes on one way. We'll see how loud it is. You know, I really like to make my machines much quieter than stock. I really prefer it to just not chew my ears up. So, ha ha ha. Alright, let's get these screws back in here. Now we took a look at the board. You know what? Before I close that up entirely, I want to take a quick picture inside of there. Capture the fact that it's got a Robin Nano board in it and all that. Cool. I just wanted that for my own records for if and when I do a review. I've, got that information. Break out the Noctuas. Yeah, I will probably do that eventually, but not right now. Not right now. Are these difficult to put together? No, this is very easy to put together. I've literally disassembled it more than I had to put it together. So, no, this is very straightforward. The only thing, I'll talk about it more when I do a review of this thing. I don't love the squaring up of the frame, but other than that, it's literally 4 screws to put together. Alright, put the foot screws back in. Then we can plug this in and get it fired up. Yeah. My electric screwdriver battery is dead and I can't find the charger. So, this is what we gotta do instead. Why is this one being tight? Don't know, but it's going in fine. Stream is glitching a little. God damn it. Let me check if I can mess with the settings at all. All right, I dropped it a bit. I think I might have been putting out too much, too high of bit rate. So let me know if there's any issues moving forward. I don't get it. I've got gigabit internet. Like, it should be a non-issue for me. But here we are. I should be easily able to stream without interruption while my partner's on the computer. Like, there's should be a non-issue, but. Okay, that's all back together. Now let's go ahead, get this thing fired up. Ah, okay. These extrusion things are supposed to go on the ends of the top. Oh, you know what? I didn't take note. Did anybody note how many stepper drivers it has? I want to know if the Z stepper motors are driven by one stepper or two. It could be software, it could be on YouTube's end too. Like, YouTube's been down a couple times. Heaps better. Awesome. Okay, I might have just been pushing too much bitrate to YouTube. Okay, so there are only 4 stepper motor drivers, and the board is lacking the 5th socket that you would need to run dual Z steppers. I don't like that. That means that the dual Z axis motors are both driven off of one stepper motor, so they cannot be synchronized the way that I like them to be able to be. Yeah, it only has 4 stepper motors, so X, Y, Z extruder. Yeah, X, Y, Z extruder. So the 2 Z motors are running off of one stepper driver, one stepper driver. 2 motors, 1 stepper driver. That means that whenever the stepper driver sends a signal to both stepper motors, they're just going to do the same thing. So you can't independently control them to level this out. And the sad part is, despite the fact that it is an actual maker-based board, it doesn't have the slot on the board to put another stepper motor and another Z stepper. So don't love that. Let me grab real quick. I've got another maker-based board right here. Yeah, I've got one right here. Now, my thought right off the bat is, for me anyway, now this is not something that's going to work for everybody. For me, I might end up swapping this Robin Nano board that I have into this machine, which will give me the independent Z control. I would say that's the limit of this machine, is that it does not have independent Z control. That said, I'm not really holding that against them, because they would need to have a BL Touch on the machine to properly run a G34 command, a bed level. But a true Robin Nano board, like this one here, has 5 steppers. They must have said, hey, let's cut one corner here, not put that extra stepper motor on there, that extra stepper driver. I get that. The fact that there's not even a socket for it, a little annoying. So I'm not too worried about it for this machine. I think for most folks that's going to be fine. That Envoy, that's exactly what I was starting to say there. For me, this isn't going to work for everybody, but I might end up putting this Robin Nano board into this machine so that I can get that dual Z control, and then put this board that came in the Focus machine into my Neptune 2, so that because that's only got a single Z motor, it doesn't matter there. So I very well may end up doing that. You are correct. But we'll cross that bridge later. But yeah, so they're saving a dollar or two. Do you prefer a BL Touch? I do it old school. No, I do not prefer a BL Touch. I personally don't love auto bed leveling because people rely on it too much. But it has nice functionality. It does have functionality, like in this case, it would allow me to do the dual Z-axis leveling, which is a thing that I could like. All right, now we're ready to fire this thing up and run it. Yeah, I lucked out. That's not something that everybody's going to have the situation of. Now, there are plenty of machines out there with dual Z-axis motors that, like, I'm being picky in wanting the ability to independently control the Z-steppers, but I'd like to see it. Okay, let's plug this thing in. Alright, plugged in, power on. The fans aren't quiet, but they're not nearly as loud as I expected them to be, so far. The hot end fan isn't even on, so it must be thermostatically controlled. I've been getting extra extrusion after retraction. I don't quite know what you mean. Do you mean it's pushing too much filament after it's done extruding or retracting, or have you tried dialing up your retraction to see if it's just an ooze factor? All right, I'm gonna grab the SD card. I gotta put this on the spool holder. I've been getting extra extrusion after retraction. I don't quite know what you mean. Do you mean it's pushing too much filament after it's done? Put the spool holder on. Okay, the fans aren't loud, but they are an annoying pitch. I don't know if you folks can pick it up. Let me see. How's that sound? Hello, folks. Alan Mandic. Okay, we're back. Yeah, the fans have an annoying sound to them. They're not loud, but they might grate on my nerves over time. Put the music back on. Helps if I put this on the right way. Good thing there's a spare screw. Yeah, it's a weird sound. Granted, some of what you folks might have heard might have been my microphone. I'll definitely put audio samples when I get around to reviewing this thing. I'll do proper audio samples, but it's a weird fan noise. It's absolutely quieter than some of my other machines. I'll give it that. At least so far. The fan on the hot end isn't on, and the part cooling fan aren't on yet. Oh, you know what? I'm being silly. I do want it the other way on this because the direct drive is in the front. Direct drive should be able to handle most material types. That's yes, technically true, but so aside from flexible filaments, a Bowden system should be able to handle most filaments as well, most materials. I'm really not in the like pro direct drive just because category personally. Like an Ender 3 with direct drive, like it doesn't have this double wide rail on it to support that, so I'm kind of iffy about it there. In this particular case, it's got that Volcano hot end on there, so this should be able to handle like this might be my go-to ASA ABS printer soon. Yeah, a stock Ender 3 is significantly louder than this. I'll absolutely give you that. And actually, my Neptune 2, the mainboard fan, the fan that cools the mainboard on my Neptune 2 has failed. It's still working, but it's making a horrendous noise. So yeah, so that also sounds worse than this. And the software definitely looks like it's basic MakerBase. Awesome. I'd have no problem with that. So, all right, I'll put these extra screws away before I lose them. Yeah, you are correct. Like, the Bowden tube is a limiting factor, but Capricorn tube holds up pretty well to a lot of materials. I run Capricorn on everything personally, but anyway, yeah. I may give this a solid effort. I might leave the glass on this one and use it. Do you have time to explain what you mean by volcanic hot end? Okay, yes, absolutely. Let's discuss that. What I mean by the volcano hot end, I'll show you here. I'll get a close-up as best I can. What I mean by honestly, Capricorn tube should be the standard. You are correct. What I mean by the volcano hot end on here is you can see that the hot end block, the heater block for the filament, right here is a lot larger than your standard block. No, totally fine. That's reasonable. I sometimes I do that. I just like take for granted people know what I'm talking about. So you can see that this block is significantly longer and taller than most other ones, and this is the nozzle that it uses. You can see how this nozzle is significantly longer than your standard nozzle. This means that your filament spends more time in the nozzle and in the heater block, so it can put more heat into the filament. It can melt filaments that are harder to extrude at higher rates. So something like ABS that requires a lot of heat input to melt, this can put a lot of heat energy into that to melt it because it spends more time going through the heater block than it does on a smaller standard heater block assembly, and more time in the nozzle to transfer the heat to it. So this is what's called a volcano type hot end, because E3D is kind of the folks who somewhat pioneered this design. It's the most common one in the industry, the best quality one probably, where they call theirs the Volcano. So that's all there is to that. There's also a Super Volcano that's even longer than this, but this is basically a clone of the Volcano. So neat. And honestly, I mean, it's a clone. This is not a Chimera or something, so it's not E3D parts in that respect, I don't think. Though the nozzles do appear like they might be real E3D, honestly. If they're not, they're cloned to be just like E3D nozzles, so. You do get more molten plastic. It's more about extrusion rate. See, this machine, they claim, can print 150 millimeters a second, I believe is the claim that they're making. Let me double check their website. They made a pretty big print speed claim. Yeah, 150 millimeters a second they say this thing can do. And part of that is that a standard hot end, would that make better for PETG too? Arguably. Not necessarily. PETG really doesn't need that, but it might allow you to print PETG a little faster. And that's part of what I'm getting to here is when they're claiming this thing prints 150 millimeters a second, like other printers, part of their restriction, part of what makes it so they can't print that fast is they can't melt the filament fast enough. This Volcano hot end should allow them to do it. What are we working on today? We're working on the Fokoos Odin 5 F3 3D printer. We're just assembling it and getting it running. So, time to start getting it running. Oh. Turn the camera down a little bit. All right, let's get the SD card in this thing and get it printing. If I can find where I put the SD card. It's right here. I want to check on here real quick, and because I couldn't find a slicer on their website. I couldn't find a slicer on their website, so I want to see if they have a slicer on here. A version of Cura or something. Okay, software and driver, Fokoos slicer. I'm gonna install their slicer, take a look at it real quick, but we're gonna go ahead and just slice and print whatever's on the card, model-wise. Plate size, similar to an Ender 3. I don't know for certain what the build volume is. Let's check real quick. It's 235 by 235 by 250, so same as an Ender 3. I'm gonna have so many slicers installed on my computer till, I mean, that's just my life as a content creator, I guess, but yeah. Alright, G-code naming rules. Oh, that's kind of important information, I guess. There's a note in here. Can't exceed 30 characters. Okay. Alright, so names can't exceed 30 characters. That's good to know. The Neptune 2 kind of has that problem too. There must be something inherent to the Robin Nano, the way that they do Cura. Best slicer, Simplify 3D. I do not agree in the slightest. Simplify 3D has been claiming they're going to update their software for 2+ years now, and they haven't. Software, if it doesn't update for 2 years, is so antiquated. Even the most ardent supporters of Simplify I know are pretty much over the fact that they haven't updated. I used it, I bought it, I used it, and I had the most print failures running Simplify 3D that I have for anything. So I gave up on it. I use Prusa Slicer with almost no issue, and it's free. Yeah, I don't understand why everybody wants fast. I think the reason that everybody focuses on fast is because when people get into 3D printers, they don't realize how long prints take. People just don't expect it. When I got into it, I didn't think my prints were going to take as long as they did, and I got to understand that. So it's a thing. People are like, oh, okay, I still love this, but you know, when it takes me a day to print something like this, that gets kind of old. So if you can cut that time in half, you've got a selling point. I've had the best luck with Cura. Prusa left odd artifacts. Really haven't had that problem. I get better print quality with Prusa personally, but I just think it's easiest to use. Honestly, Simplify really kind of drove me nuts with all their settings, but then I was very new to printing when I tried Simplify. I'll be honest about that. So it was probably over my head at that point. I don't know what software this is running yet. I'm just installing it. What slicer it comes with. Let's take a look. Fokoos slicer is It's got its own splash screen, but the loading animation sure looks like Cura to me. Let's get it open. It's Cura. Their slicer software is Cura. So that's fine. That's fine. I wonder if I can download... Oh, there's a Fokoos Odin... Let me I can't screen share, sorry. Have you tried Super Slicer or Idea Maker? I have not, other than the King Rune KP3S came with Idea Maker. I don't love it, but it did come with that. What software do you recommend for creating your own 3D models? Fusion 360. It's free to get started with, free for hobbyists. Give that a try. That's my recommendation. It's what I use. I have not tried Super Slicer. I want to. I've been meaning to. I just haven't had any time to dive into it yet. So, their slicing software is Cura that they ship with it. It's skinned Cura, so that's fine. That's kind of industry standard. But we are just going to go ahead and put the SD card into the machine, and we're going to print whatever's on the SD card, the sample file. It's usually what I do. Can I use that on an iPad? No, unfortunately you cannot. I like to recommend Fusion right off the bat because it's also free if your computer can handle it, and like you might as well learn the software you're going to want to use in the long run, I feel like. All right, I am going to heat up the bed and level it. I'm going to do a bed level real quick and go from there. Preheat. I'm a little concerned by the fact that it's reading 0 degrees on the hot end right now. That's making me think it's not getting a proper reading. Let me check to make sure I didn't miss any steps. Yeah, they don't tell you to... Another note, they also don't tell you that you need to hook this cable up, which I absolutely did. That's making me think it's not getting a proper reading. I'm going to do a power cycle real quick because I am not getting a reading off of the hot end. Like the thermistor is not picking up. No, it's not even ambient temp. It says it's at 0. This thing is $300. It's on Amazon right now for $309. It's $350 on their website. No, yeah, ribbon cables are notoriously problematic. I do not love that. But you know, not much. Oh, I see why. It's because the Z-axis ribbon cable wasn't hooked up either. Here, this one comes unplugged as well. Makes sense why it comes unplugged, but the instructions do not say you need to hook them up. Yeah, not even minus 15. It didn't say anything, so it's because the Z wasn't hooked up. Okay, now we should be good to go. Looks like a mix between an artillery and an ender. I'll give you that. Yeah, I see that. But I'm seeing a lot of things I like about this so far. We'll cover that in another video, I think. There's been a lightning deal on Amazon for $250 for this, apparently, a sale a couple of times. That's cool to know. For $250, this might be a pretty darn, like, solid call. I'm not even close to ready to say anything more than, like, first impressions, but all the stuff you're getting, that is... Okay, now we got ambient temperature reading. Good. Oh, that's why the fan wasn't on the hot end earlier. I thought it was because it hadn't heated up yet. It is on now. And that fan is a little louder than I care for. It's really not bad, actually. It's not that loud. One thing I hate about maker-based firmware is there's no preset buttons. You can't just push, you know, preheat PLA. It's really annoying. All right, I'm gonna heat this up so I can do a level. Quick note, if nobody ever knows this, something I try to mention a lot and people really don't seem to know or doesn't get said enough. When you are leveling a 3D printer, you're leveling your bed to your hot end, tramming it technically, heat up your stuff. Heat up your hot end, heat up your bed. They expand, contract. Perfect time for a firmware upgrade. It's running Marlin. I don't know what revision. Let's take a look. It says firmware 1.0.2, so I don't know what, it's probably their proprietary name for whatever version of Marlin it is. I know it's Marlin, so. I don't think I have the Wi-Fi module on here. I can smell plastic, it's heating up. I don't have any filament in it right now, but yeah. Not setting the world on fire heat up times, but it's getting there. All right, hot end is heated up. Bed is working its way up. Are enclosures worth the time and expense if you don't print ABS? If you're printing in a cold garage, maybe. Otherwise, no. If you're printing in decent ambient conditions, no, they don't really make any sense. You don't really need them. Got a run of M503, yeah. I'll dive into that later, probably off stream, really start to get into the nitty gritty of what this thing is set up, how it's set up, do a PID auto tune, all that. Would be curious if they went with Marlin 2 or not. I don't know. Being as this has the Robin Nano 1.2 board in it, I'm kind of betting it's probably Marlin 1, but I don't. That's pure guess. Pure guess. All right. Wow, the bed is taking a long time to heat up. It's at 46 degrees. I set it to 70. I wanted it to get to 70, and it's 47. 48, 49, 50. Okay, now we're moving. What are the best filament brands for Ender 3 Pro? Hard to say. How do you pronounce the printer's name? Focus. I don't know for sure. I don't know for certain. Yeah, this is a long time for the bed size that it is. You are correct. I don't know for certain that it is Focus, but I've heard other people say Focus, and it sounds right to me. It's like a play on it, or maybe it's somebody's name that they just happen to be Focus, be like Focus. 54 Celsius. I'm gonna go ahead and do a home while we're waiting. Why does PLA have different print temps? All filaments have different print temps. Finding the direct drive, which style is it? It is a clone of like a Hemera type direct drive system. So it's the stepper motor with the direct drive module right on the other side of it, and then the heater break goes right into that. So a clone of a Hemera, basically, I would call it. All filaments vary. The chemical makeup, just the different colors can cause filaments to vary. So I tell people all the time, like, I'm trying to see what it uses for leveling or for homing. There's a switch over here, I think is it. Likely a Titan clone. It's actually not a Titan clone. I'm certain of that. It is more of like a Hemera. Yeah, it's not a Titan clone. It's more like a Hemera clone because the behind me over here, the King Rune KP3S has a Titan clone on it. This I would call more like a Chimera. Yeah, so let's take a quick look at it again. I'll show you on their website. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so we still have audio this time. Looking at their website real quick. Let's look at the printer. I'll show you the breakdown of the extruder. Yeah, see? It's more like what I would call a Chimera clone or a BQ-H2 clone, but it looks like it's not geared. It's a direct drive, not a geared direct drive. So that's all. Look at the printer. I'll show you the breakdown of the extruder. What Ender series printers do you have? I have 2 base model Enders and an Ender 5 Plus. Okay, where are we at temp wise? Here's the next thing I hate about this firmware. Okay, we're at 70 degrees on the bed. Awesome. The next thing I don't like about this firmware is there's no screen, like info screen. There's no like one overarching screen to just be like, that's what I'm set at. I'm gonna use this card for leveling. Whew, that's tight. This is a little thick, this card stock I'm using, but alright, I took a lot of turns. Back to the back corner we go! Yeah, so I'm actually intrigued by the fact that they're not using a a Titan clone, which is more common, I would say. Do you have a good filament? What filaments do I like? I use Inland brand from Micro Center primarily. For PETG, I use Greengate 3D, a company that uses 100% recycled material. I really like their filaments. I'm setting this really tight because this is pretty thick. But yeah, I primarily use Inland brand filament from Micro Center. I really like the stuff. Back corner. Hatchbox for me. You know, I've not given Hatchbox enough of a fair try. The first spool of Hatchbox I ordered was a spool of PETG, and it was terrible. So I've kind of swore off them after that, which isn't fair. All right. Yeah, I'm not happy with that. I'm gonna. There's a better piece of paper. All right. Still pretty tight up here. Okay. I usually like to do like 1 or 2 trips around at least. Do you ever use feeler gauges? Nope, I just use paper. Honestly, you know, it's just one of those like, I call 3D printing an imprecise precision process. At the end of the day, it's only ever going to be so precise. And I don't really worry about feeler gauging my thicknesses. I just use paper. And I set differently for different materials. Like PETG, I'll look for a little bit less drag on the paper. PLA, I look for a tighter drag. We're going to be printing PLA right now, so... One last corner check. I've been having leveling issues on my Maker Select Plus and non-sticking to glass bed. I hate glass beds. I hate glass beds largely for adhesion issues, so Sorry. That, that's a thing. Go back to the first corner, triple check it, make sure it's where I want it to be, and then we'll be good to go. And it's not. I gotta come up. I use PEI. I prefer PEI beds if I'm doing would the Ender 3 or 5 be better for a beginner? I recommend the 3 because it's cheaper, honestly. That's honestly, it's just a cheaper way to get started, and if you don't love printing, like, you may just not love printing, so it's good to like figure that out on a machine that's a little more affordable. All right, I'm gonna apply some magic goo to the bed. I shouldn't have done this while it's already heated up, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And then we're gonna see what's on the SD card to print. I'm gonna load up some red filament. Home. There's an auto load function. I'm going to try that. It's gripping the filament and it's going, but it is slow. Wow, that's slow. I have PLA that says 215 to 230. How do I know which one to go at? Any cons of resin printing? Cons of resin printing: chemicals. It is dangerous stuff. People do not take it seriously enough. You should be wearing nitrile or latex gloves while you're handling the stuff. You should be wearing a respirator. This is a new printer. This is the Fokoos. It's not new. It's been out for like 6-7 months. The Fokoos Odin 5. Yeah. The auto load didn't finish. It didn't ooze. So like the auto load stopped too soon. And it's at a very low speed. I'm going to come back to the PLA temperature thing, I promise. Resin printing, you should be wearing a respirator. You should be in a well-ventilated area. You should be wearing gloves while you're handling the stuff. And people don't worry about that enough. If you're just doing this in an apartment, it could be bad for you. It could be bad for your pets. You have to think about that stuff. And that's the thing that doesn't get talked about enough. There we go. We got some ooze out now. All right. As far as PLA temperatures, there is a thing called a temperature tower. We got a handful of test models here in the software. 1 second, I'm gonna show the camera. As far as PLA temperatures, there is a thing called a temperature tower. We've got, oh, there's actually a 3D benchy on here. What should we print? Can you speak Spanish? Sorry, no, I don't speak Spanish. Any experience with the Anycubic FDM printers? I do not have any. What printer is this? This is, oh, also resin printing is do the benchy. All right, do the benchy. Resin printing is also generally more brittle. It's not as strong as FDM printing in general. So the benchy is selected. Cheap starter printer, Ender 3. I don't disagree with that. Yeah, resin prints are generally more brittle in a lot of ways. Anybody else having the stream glitch? Sorry if that's happening. That's annoying. Everything looks good on OBS, so I don't really know why that should be happening, but entirely possible. Anybody else having the stream glitch? Sorry if that's happening. That's annoying. Why is this taking so long to get started? It's been 1 minute and 30 seconds and we're waiting on it to get started. It's at temperature, 180, 180, 70 degrees on the bed. I like that they preset 70 degrees on the bed for the glass bed. Hello? I got nothing. It was preheated. It's already preheated. It's at temperature. All right, that print doesn't look like it wants to start. I thought you said no on glass. I didn't pick this. So I didn't have any say in what this was going to have on it when I got it. They sent this to me. So CR6 SE have 2 Ender 3s, but I'm considering the upgrade. Honestly, I don't think it's much of an upgrade. Like, it's got some nice features, but I don't know what I would call it. A print speed 1 millimeter an hour. Yeah. So I think we're going to stop that. That benchy's not going anywhere. Would you call that a benchy fail? You know, if you don't get a benchy out of it, it's a fail, right? Doesn't want to stop. I hit stop. It does have baby stepping. I like that. And we're 3 minutes in and it hasn't even started. I'm going to power cycle it. It doesn't want to stop. No files found. Oh. I don't know how, but the SD card popped out. That's why it stopped. That's why it didn't get printing. Yeah, the CR6 SE just doesn't make any sense to me, honestly. Like, you can get all the same features, except for the weird auto leveling that it has on other machines. If you're looking for an upgrade from an Ender 3, I would consider something like an Ender 5, or like something that's going to meet a different demand. The CR6 SE is really kind of the same as an Ender 3 with like slightly better bells and whistles. It's just not worth the extra price, I think. Okay, let's try the benchy again. I don't know how the SD card popped out. I'm not touching shit, that's for sure. Ugh, the bed already cooled down to 64 degrees. What do you think of the Creality belt system? I wouldn't get one. The print quality I'm seeing out of it, really not impressive. Would love a Core XY. If you want a Core XY, like the Tronxy is very popular. I have no experience from it. I would love the print. This does have the bitmap, so. We do get a preview image. Let's see if we actually get a print this time. This time it's heating up. I'll give it that. It's heating up right now. Okay, now we have different temperatures, so it was definitely an SD card issue before. For some reason the SD card popped out. I swear I didn't touch it, but it popped out. All right. First line looks all right. Getting decent squish on the first purge line. Good. Build a Voron, call it a day. I am going to be building a Voron in the not too distant future. I have to try and make me a monster Voron. Go for it. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a Voron in the not too distant future, but I don't necessarily recommend that for most folks. Ah, sorry. I don't know why it's not focusing. All right, folks on TikTok, I'm going to give you a better view too. Sorry about the focus issue. I have a GH5. My camera does not autofocus very well. I wish I could afford to upgrade to something else, but this is what we got right now. I'm gonna try and get you folks a better camera angle too. It's printing decently quick. The question about support, I don't really know what to recommend offhand. Email me and I'll gladly help you. But, you know, just saying I'm having support issues, I really need to kind of like see them or get some more details to help you out. Sorry, I can't do more than that. Gladly help you, I just need some more info. So email me. Palette coming soon. I really don't know. I hope so. Last email I got, it's kind of sounding like I won't see my palette until January. Annoyingly. So. I'm gonna move the camera here, TikTok. What's the travel speed? I have no idea. It is moving pretty quick. They claim this thing does up to 150 millimeters a second, so I'm assuming that they tuned the profile for this benchy to be quick. I don't know. Oh wow, it takes that long. Honestly, the problem with the palette right now, is that it's a brand new product and it's kind of stuck in that whole shipping limbo problem. So, you know, all the shipping containers out in the ocean right now, like somewhere out there is a container full of Palette Pros, and mine's probably in there. I don't know because like some of them got shipped by air, some of them got shipped by sea, and I placed my order after the pre-order, so I don't know when I'm gonna get mine. Unfortunately, and I'm not a big enough creator at this point for Palette to have sent me one, so I'm just a paying customer. Yeah, they claim this machine can do up to 150 millimeters a second. I don't know, but I believe that. But we may play around with testing it a little more. It's not using linear rails. It's still got ball bearing V wheel runners, but it does have a nice strong 2040 extrusion on both the Z and X, as well as wide twin rails on the Y. So like, there's potential. It's probably as much potential as a V wheel machine has, I guess. Using grid infill. Yeah, supply chain issues, unfortunately, are a thing. So I don't know. I hope I get my palette before the end of the year. I really would like to have it sooner rather than later. You know, I paid almost 800, or no, I paid basically $800 for the thing already. But you know, that's a thing. I guess it's the modern world. First print. This is the first print. We're doing a benchy. Came with a benchy on the SD card, so we're gonna do it. I mean, yeah, there's the human malware issue causing supply chain issues, but also the world is just getting to be a more complicated place, and like, you know, we're still using ports that were built before internet shopping, and you know, there's a lot of things that go into it, but I don't know. I don't work in logistics. Can we be friends? I don't know. Can we? If you mean, will I follow back? I don't know. I'm kind of picky about who I follow, no offense. So when they claim 150 millimeters a second, is that true print speed for like perimeters or travel speed? Very good question that I don't have the answer to offhand. You know, that, like, yeah, my Ender 3 travels at 150 millimeters a second, but maximum print speed, actually on the website, it says 300. I don't know how much I believe that, but it says 300. Supported materials, PLA, PLA+, TPU, ABS, PETG. Recommended materials, PLA and PLA+. I mean, for most people that just makes sense, but yeah, their website really doesn't have a lot of information as to what they're claiming beyond that. What are your prerequisites for friends? I'm neurodivergent, so I don't like making friends, so I don't really have a good list for you, or good answer. This benchy's going pretty quick. We're like 6% right now. We will definitely, I will push print speeds on this thing later. What are you making? We're printing a benchy right now. So one of the little test boats. A benchy. We're printing one of these. Why have you... Thank you. A benchy. Love your videos. Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know if that's true print speed or what. I'm going to play with this. I'm going to push the speeds. If they claim... If a company makes a claim saying that they can print 150 millimeters a second, I'm going to try it. I'm going to push it. We're going to see what happens. If it prints horrendously or what, we'll find out. With that 4010 cooling fan on there, I really question that. part of printing fast isn't just melting the material, it's also solidifying it. So I really see myself designing a 5010 fan upgrade for this, yeah, I've got a handful of 5010s around, I think. Or, do I mean 5020? I forget. Are lives with spaghetti real? I think they're fake for view. Thoughts? Do you mean Spaghetti Detective? I haven't seen any to comment. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never used Spaghetti Detective. I've seen reviews of it, and they've been hit or miss. So yeah, I don't know. Oh, fake or print fails. I don't know. I've had print fails happen on live. Print fails just happen. Where the machine messed up. I mean, I don't know. I've seen some pretty horrendous failures. I've had failures on lives myself, and it just happens. I'm sure some people probably do it for views. That's probably not unheard of. But yeah, I don't know for sure. I can't say. I definitely don't want any of mine to fail. I want to see them complete because personally, when I'm doing a live print, the payoff is the finish. You know, for a lot of people, they want to see the end. They want to see the finish. And I think people feel, I can see where it's fun to see a failure, but not nearly as engaging as a good finished print. So, I don't know. I've had a failure go all weekend. Should have taken a pic. I bet. The worst I had was an overnight. The first time I tried to print the Cubone skull, that failed pretty early on, and I had gone to bed already. Like, I started it right before I went to bed. I woke up the next morning, and my printer was covered in spaghetti. But that was only like 8 hours of printing. All right, we're like 10% into this benchy. Anybody got any questions? Anything you want to talk about? I just had a print fail. Spaghetti Monster visited me. Yeah, that happens. What is this new machine? This is the Fokoos, Fokoos, the Fokoos Tech Odin 5 F3. It's got a heck of a name. How much did this unit cost? This thing is $350 on their website, $349, but it's on sale right now for $309, or like $300. But a couple of people on YouTube have told me that they've seen it as low as $250 on sale. So, and it's direct drive. It's got a pretty beefy rails, like at all the points. Like, it's got quiet stepper motor drivers. The fans aren't as quiet as I might like, but overall, like, it's got a lot going for it for that price tag. I just realized, this versus the Ender 3 Pro. I am not nearly ready to sign off on this thing. I just started running this. I cannot give a good review of this yet. I would still recommend the Ender 3. The reason I recommend the Ender 3, the Creality machines, over other machines isn't that they're the best quality machines. It's largely the information that's out there about them. You can find so many YouTube videos and articles and things about the Creality machines. So if you have a problem with them, you can learn to fix them, or learn, like, hey, my Ender 3 is doing this. Like, almost anything you type into Google, Ender 3, bad print quality, you'll find articles about how to fix it. And a lot of that information can apply to multiple printers. But that's a hard part with like a machine like this. If you search for Fokoos Odin 5 F3 print quality, you might find a couple of Reddit articles and that's it. So like, that's part of why I recommend Creality machines, is that wealth of information that's available out there for them. You know, so that's part of it anyway. This machine does seem like it has a lot of things going for it out of the box. And I'm really intrigued to play with it more and push it harder and maybe try to print some higher temp materials with it, disassemble it and take a closer look at things, print some upgrades for it. I just realized I'm pretty sure the fan on the hot end, the cooling fan here, I'm pretty sure it's a 30mm fan, and that I already have a 35mm to 40mm adapter that I designed for my Ender 5 Plus that I'm going to be able to put on here, I think. So that's one fan upgrade easily done. I didn't even hear about the Fokoos machine until this live. Yeah, I only heard about it through Instagram ads recently, and then they reached out to me and wanted to send this one along, like right about the same time. So they must be doing a marketing push with it, and fine. I think I think this printer has only been around for like 7-8 months now, to my knowledge. Have you seen the Voxelab Aquila X2? I've seen it, don't have any input on it, I haven't run it. I've never run a Voxelab machine. Plenty of people swear by them. My problem with the Voxelab machines is I've heard a few of the earlier ones had some seriously dangerous wiring issues. But so did early Ender 3s, like that happens, unfortunately. The wiring on this looks really good, I'll give you that. The problem with the Voxelabs to me is parts availability and information availability. They're becoming more popular and information is getting easier to find, but I still like there's so much more for Ender 3s, you know, or Creality machines in general. I can go to Micro Center and I can pick up parts for a Creality machine. I can't do that for a Voxelab, and that's part of the ecosystem to me. Part of why I recommend things. You know, if I'm recommending a printer to somebody, I could be recommending it. I have 130,000 followers on TikTok. I'd be recommending it to a ton of people. And so that's a thing that I have to think about when I recommend things. So, at least it seems like it wasn't a Kickstarter launch. I don't know, but I assume not. I really don't know enough about this machine. The fan is pumping out some heat out of the electronics case onto my hand right now, I can tell you that. It's from FlashForge. FlashForge bought Voxelab. I don't know that they were originally a company of FlashForge, and also the fact that they're still under a subcategory. Voxelab is FlashForge's budget line, basically, which is fine, but yeah. Do you see what I say? I see it. Hello. What are you printing? We're printing a 3D Benchy right now. A pretty standard benchmark test. It was on the SD card. Folks voted in the chat. That's what we're printing. Makes the slightest clicking noise on retraction, just like my Ender 5 does. Ever done a giant slinky lizard? Nope. I personally, how many printers do you own now? Oh, good question. Neptune 2, Ender 3, Ender 3, Ender 5 Plus, Prusa Mark 3S, MakerBot Replicator, Anycubic Photon Mono, Kingrun KP3S, and this Fokoos Odin 5 F3. 9? That feels wrong. What do you do for work? You're looking at it. I am a content creator. This is what I do for work. I 3D print. I make videos about it. This is my job. Star, welcome to the stream. Hello. Yeah. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I guess 9. I ordered an Prusa XL, and I have a Elegoo Jupiter on order as well. So I've got 2 more machines on order at the moment, and I plan to build a Voron V2.4 at some point. So it is rather quiet in here for 240 people in here right now, but I'm not complaining. It's hard to keep up when the chat goes crazy. You only have 9 printers? Yeah, pretty much. I think I only have 9. Only. Is it expensive to get into 3D printing? You know, it depends on what your definition of expensive is. It can be, you know, like the cheapest you're going to get into it is probably figure like $200, $250 to get started if you already have a computer that you can slice things on. Do they work on 110 volt? Yep, I'm printing on 110 volt right now. I live in America, so, well, it has a power supply that steps that down to 24 volts. Yeah, only 9 printers, I know. You can slice on your phone, yeah. If you have Wi-Fi capability, uploading, like there's a lot of ways. I intend to do some videos about like how you can work with an iPad or something to 3D print. I'm gonna do that at some point once I have some freaking time. Will it work if you turned it upside down? Yes, it actually would, if the machine, if the kinematics will allow it. I've seen upside down 3D printers just as a like, let's see what you can do. Is there metal printer? There is metal printing, but it is a extremely expensive process to get into. It's well out of the consumer sphere. What are we making? We're printing a 3D Benchy right now. Let me go back in the chat here. I know I missed something. Thoughts on resin printing? Resin printing is awesome. You can do some really nice detail stuff. Have you done any resin printing? I really don't do resin printing right now. I need to get this space set up better and start on that. Resin printing, you're dealing with dangerous chemicals and fumes, and there's a lot more to consider with resin printing. But you can do some beautiful work with it. So you really have to like figure out what your needs are and if it fits your needs. Because of you, I got into 3D printing. Awesome. Love to hear that. Any experience or opinions on the Voxelab printers? I have no experience with them personally. I'm pretty excited about the Kiwoo IDEX once they fix the firmware. Yeah, I really don't have any IDEX machines, and I'm really waiting for people to kind of like figure IDEX machines out a little bit more. Independent dual extrusion machines. There's just so many hurdles to them, and I haven't seen anything I've been particularly impressed with yet, personally. So, Voxelab machines, I have no experience with them personally. They reached out to me on my old account before I met the marching band, and they wanted to sponsor content, but they didn't seem like they really wanted to pay, so we didn't come to terms on that. What do you recommend for a starter 3D printer? Right behind me is an Ender 3. I recommend the Ender 3s. This machine right here costs $300 right now on Amazon. I use a 10mm can cup daily. Thank you for the amazing content. Awesome. Love to hear that. Thank you. I'm using one of the 12 gauge shots right now. As I spill Monster on myself. This machine's $300. The Ender 3, you can pick them up for like $150. That's my go-to recommendation for a starter 3D printer is the Ender 3. I like them. They're not the best by any means, but they're affordable. 3D printing is not for everybody, and I would far prefer to see people spend money on a printer that's affordable to figure out whether or not they like it before they move on. What's the smallest detail you can print? It depends on the nozzle size. If you put a 0.2mm nozzle in, you can go to tighter detail, but then you have to worry about how you're cooling the part. Resin is better for small details such as miniatures for the most part. What's a good starter resin printer? Check out Uncle Jesse's content on TikTok and on YouTube. Uncle Jesse does a lot of resin stuff, and he's checked out some really nice budget machines recently. Personally, I have an Anycubic Photon Mono. The mono screen lasts longer and prints faster, so I would look for a mono screen, but you can pick up a resin machine for $150 to $200 these days. What software do you use for your design work? I personally use Fusion 360, Autodesk Fusion 360, and I really like it. Currently downloading Fusion 360, gonna play with it. Never done any 3D modeling or 3D printing. Once I have more space, I'm getting into 3D printing. Thanks for the awesome content. Thank you, Neil. I appreciate that. I'm going to be doing more Fusion 360 tutorials moving forward, teaching people how to use it. So please continue to watch the content, and we will try and help you out. What do you mean from Ender 3? I mean, my Ender 3 does really, really well. What I mean, why I like the Enders is that, like, they can do really good. You got to tune them and you got to work with them to get them to print really well, but you can. You absolutely can. You can do better with other machines, but I just think they're a really good starter machine for people, mostly because of the information that's available. Have you used a resin printer yet? I don't use my resin machines. I've got a couple things sitting around. I haven't used them at all. I just have not had the time. I'm so busy with all my other stuff with these machines showing up, I haven't had any time. So we will be. I ordered an Elegoo Jupiter, the big machine. I ordered an Elegoo Jupiter. We will be doing a lot of resin printing in 2022. We just haven't gotten into it enough yet. You've probably been asked loads, why do you have holes in your ears? Because I wanted them. I do not answer that in the comments. Anybody might have noticed that. I get asked that all the time. What's with the holes in your ears? I don't answer them in the comments purposely because I just think it's funny to not answer them. But in a live, I'll tell you. They're just piercings. They're called conch piercings. And yeah, I like them. That's it. It's the only reason I have them. Bed adhesion problems. What do you recommend? Focus on your bed temperatures. Stepping up your starter bed temp helps. And the other thing I recommend is Magigoo. I really like Magigoo. This stuff is a bed adhesion promoter. I really like it. It's not cheap, but it lasts for quite a while. And I like Magigoo, personally. I will do a video soon. I've been meaning to for so long about bed adhesion, like better bed adhesion. I got to work on that. I will do that in the near future. It's more aerodynamic. Yeah, it's more aerodynamic. The wind whistles through my ears. It's annoying. What's an upgrade from Ender 3? I want to use carbon fiber. I would probably look at a Prusa. If you're looking to go with that kind of more engineering type materials, you're going to need direct drive would be good to have, but not necessary. But you're definitely going to need an all metal hot end. A Prusa is a decent way to go if you want to really step up from an Ender 3. I have a lot of problems with my Prusa personally, but I'm also a tinkerer. I'm happy to build machines, so. I had a resin for a short time. There's definitely a learning curve from FDM. Yep. Been using painter's tape, but that's starting to be an issue. Are you printing on glass? I've been meaning to for months to do a video about what I do when I'm having bed adhesion issue. I really, really need to do that. Hopefully I will put one out yet this week. Good starter 3D printer. I recommend the Creality Ender 3s. Say this over and over again. Base model Ender 3. That's my recommendation for a starter printer. Base model Ender 3, you're having adhesion issues on the original bed. I find the original bed on that, I like it just fine, but it takes some time to break in, personally, I think. How fast do you print perimeter and external perimeters? I actually print really slow for the most part. My average print speed on perimeters is somewhere around 30 to 40 millimeters a second, down to 20 on externals sometimes. Because I'm a 3D modeler mostly, you know, I'm a designer, I need to put the best looking prints that I can out there. I'm not focused on doing them quickly for the most part. It needs to represent my work well, so I print slower. Do you fix broken stuff? Yeah, I like to fix broken stuff, but I just don't have a lot of time for projects like that. Nothing sticks to my glass bed anymore. I have to use painter's tape at this point. I hate glass, personally. I agree. Ever used M3D, one of the original cubed ones? I don't know what you mean, M3D. I'm not familiar with that. Do you mean MakerBot? I've got a MakerBot replicator right there, just off the corner of the screen. Are you in the UK? Nope. USA, Philadelphia. How's the software to use on the Ender 3s? It's pretty straightforward. It's very basic, but yeah. I print perimeters at 20 millimeters a second and external at 12. Oh wow, I don't even go that slow. If I'm doing really, really small stuff, I go that slow just to keep it from melting. But no, I print much faster than that. What are we printing right now? We're printing a 3D Benchy. How realistic would it be to buy an entry-level printer and start a small business on Etsy? It's doable. Etsy is pretty saturated, so that's going to be a hurdle. But it's totally doable. Plenty of people just have a single or one or two basic machines and start an Etsy business. You can do it. If you can't afford to get into printing unless you turn it into a business, I would be concerned about that. I understand the desire to turn it into a business, but if you can't afford it otherwise, I'd be concerned just because it's hard to say that you're going to make your money back. My standard bed temp is 50. Oh no, bump that up. I don't go any lower than 60, ever. For PLA on the stock Ender 3, I generally do 65 degrees on the first layer and 60 degrees on the subsequent layers. That will help your bed adhesion issues a little bit. Somebody asked, biggest thing I printed. Probably this. I don't think it's the biggest thing I printed, but it's the biggest thing I have close to hand. My design of the Nuka, or the Fallout 4 mini nuke, but I upscaled it a bunch. Can I see your ears up close? Sorry, not really. I just don't want to get in here. With glass, yes, I go hotter. Like for glass, I generally print like 70 degrees or 75 degrees on the first layer and like 65, 70 on subsequent layers. Best entry-level printer, my go-to recommendation is always the Creality Ender 3, personally.
Sorry, I'm still not sure about that.
Siri just thought I was talking to her. Go away. Best entry-level printer, yeah, I recommend the Creality machines normally. Can you hear normally? Yeah, really doesn't affect me. The only problem I have is wind whistling through them. What's my favorite printer? Honestly, my favorite printer is my original Creality Ender 3. The first machine I ever got is my Etsy Feezer Killer. Yeah, that's a factor too. Best printer. That's a really hard one to answer. Honestly, my Ender 5 Plus, but I modified the hell out of that. I would say that's close to my best or my favorite printer. My Prusa is probably a close second on that. However, my Prusa keeps acting up. It's broken right now. My Prusa is broken right now, so I've had a lot of trouble with that. Have you ever tried a Sidewinder X1? No, I have not. No experience with it, sorry to say. Any opinions on the CR10 V2? It's a proven machine, it's loud, but if you need a larger print volume, it's generally my go-to recommendation. Have you ever tried a Sidewinder X? For a larger machine, it's my go-to usually. What do you print on your printers? My own designs. I primarily print my own stuff. I used to do mostly practical printing, like making parts. You know, this week I designed and printed this. It's a fan adapter for the laser I just got last week. But mostly lately my design process is these cups. I make can cups, if anybody's not familiar. The things you find on TikTok Live, yep, welcome to it. Yeah, I make these can cup designs if anybody's not familiar, if anybody's new here. Do you have to have ventilation to use a printer? No. It is good to have around them. There can be fine particles of plastic that kind of come off of the prints as they're printing, micro, like you can't see them small. But for regular printing PLA, PETG, you do not need ventilation. If you're printing ABS or ASA, you do need it because the fumes are a little bit toxic. You have to be one of the few content creators I've seen that's had so much trouble with the Prusa. I know, it's silly. I've had so many problems with my Prusa, it's stupid. I know that that's not the normal. I think I got a bit of a lemon, but it's my experience. You know, I have people who give me shit. They're like, oh, Prusa's great. You don't know what you're doing. Like, my Prusa keeps breaking. I'm sorry. It's not that I'm breaking it. It keeps breaking. It's just the truth. What do you want me to do? Not talk about it? Can you make a cup? No. 3D prints are not food safe. I don't recommend it. How hard to reload material? It's pretty easy. You heat up the hot end, you pull out the material. Like, it's really pretty straightforward. Y'all listen to this man. He knows what he is doing and learns from experience. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I try to help people avoid the mistakes that I have made. Bought an Anycubic Mega 2, it's my first printer, really happy with it. Awesome. There are a lot of great starter printers out there. I recommend what I recommend just because it's what I have experience with and I have some reasons to go behind that. Would you be able to design a can holder with a music note as a handle? That's a neat idea. I could do like a trumpet or something. Or a bugle, maybe. Neat idea. Honest opinion about the Prusa XL price. It's a lot if you don't have a need for it. If you don't have a need for a Prusa XL, if you don't know what your need is, don't buy one. And honestly, I really recommend everybody, don't be like me. Don't pre-order the Prusa XL. Wait for the reviews. Wait for us to get the machines, review them, tell you about it, what we think about it. I really recommend that. I pre-ordered it because this is my job, so I need to have it as soon as I can get it so I can make content about it. I've heard of people playing with cooling fan speed. What's your thoughts? I play with cooling fan speed on almost every print. Can you make a can cup? Yep, that's what I do. That's my job. It's a lot of what I do. For $4,000, all the upgrades is insane. I mean, you're getting 5 print heads at that price. That's not a little thing. The wheels under bed on my Enders seem to be wearing really fast. They're probably too tight. Loosen them up just a little bit would be my guess. Where can we get the files you've made? Thangs.com. Thangs.com/mandicreally. MANDICREALLY. If you go to there, you'll find my designs. Or head to the link on my links page. If you go to the link that's in my bio, I have a whole page with links. Thangs is on there. That takes you right to my designs. You can get all my designs. They're free to download, free for you folks to make for yourselves. What do you do for a living? I'm a content creator. You are looking at my job. This is it. Could I pay you for a 3D printed schlong? No, I don't have any time to print it. Otherwise, I would probably say yes.